Okay, today we are simplifying algebraic expressions with rational numbers. Most of this should be reviewed for you. Again, the new part that we're learning is the fact that there can be negatives in our values. Okay, so here's our first problem. We have 3.7x minus 9.2y plus 7.4 minus 4.2x minus 8.5. So we have a whole bunch of terms, and if we look, we'll notice that we have some like terms. I think it's important if we first start off by using our so easy, because we want to make sure this minus 9.2y has the value of negative 9.2y. And this also has the value of negative 4.2x and negative 8.5. So now we want to look for our like terms. In order for terms to be like terms, they must have exactly the same variables and exactly the same exponents. So in this case, my positive 3.7x has a like term of negative 4.2x because they have exactly the same variables that are being taken to exactly the same exponent. My negative 9.2y has no like terms because there's no other terms that have a variable of y to the first power. And then my positive 7.4 has a like term of negative 8.5. So those are my terms that I can combine. Again, I need to make sure that I'm following my rules for adding and subtracting with positive and negative numbers. So my positive 3.7 combines with my negative 4.2 x. I know my answer is going to be negative because the larger absolute value is the negative 4.2. To combine those, I'm actually going to be subtracting because I'm adding two numbers that have different signs. Again, I want you to make sure you're showing your scratch work on the side so that it's not disrupting the flow of your work from your algebra. So what we get is negative 2.5x. Now my negative 9.2y didn't have any like terms, so I can either write that as minus 9.2 or plus negative 9.2. Sorry, y. It doesn't matter. Either way is fine. Now my positive 7.4 combines with my negative 8.5. Again, I know because I'm combining two numbers that have different signs that I am mathematically going to subtract to get the answer there. And I get negative 1.1, or negative 1 1/10. So simplified, I get negative 2.5x plus negative 9.2y plus negative 1.1 or minus 1.1. Again, those have the same value. Okay, next problem, we have 0.3 or 3/10 times the quantity of 2x plus 4.3. This case, we're going to simplify this algebraic expression by distributing my 3/10 into the 2x and into the 4.3y. If you had Miss Condrick last year, you might have heard the story where the superhero flies in and distributes to the 2x and the 4.3y. So what I'm going to get is 0.3 times the quantity of 2x plus 0.3 times the quantity of 4.3y. Again, you want to make sure you're doing your scratch work off to the side so that you are not interfering your flow with your algebra. I was able to do the 0.3 times the 2x in my head, but I will do the scratch work for the 0.3 times the 4.3. And I get 0.6x plus 1.29y. I can't combine those because they're not like terms. One has the variable of an x and one has the variable of a y. Okay, last problem that we're going to do here. This time I'm distributing the fractional value of negative 2/3. I'm going to distribute it to the 4x and the negative 1/4. Again, I'm going to start by going ahead and make that plus negative 1/4, just so I don't lose that negative. So my superhero, or my negative 2/3, is going to fly in, save the 4x, and come back and save the negative 1/4. And when I simplify everything, I get negative 8/3 x plus 1/6. You need to be really careful when you're distributing a negative or when you have negatives inside. You want to make sure you're not losing them. So the negative 2/3 times the negative 1/4 gave me positive 1/6. Okay, if you have any questions, make sure you bring them to class tomorrow, and make sure you fill out your Google form.